Good Wednesday afternoon. Boy, I'm just getting a little behind myself. Good Wednesday afternoon. I'm here with Jimmie Ratliff at Dynamic Independence, and today we are going to be discussing community outreach and awareness. Hi, Jimmie.
Hey, how are you, Lisa?
Well, can you talk a little bit briefly about Dynamic Independence approach to community outreach?
Yeah, absolutely. So, really, with community outreach, our primary focus is not only the outreach portion of getting out there and getting in the community, but it's also education. That's a very important part of our community outreach. And generally, what we're looking to educate people about is inclusion and independent living resources within our community. We also recognize that because we serve Washington County, Craig County, and Owasso County, that the demographics and the people that we serve may be different in each one of those areas. So we often have to work to kind of tailor our services to be where people are.
Okay. Can you elaborate on how you connect with the communities you serve?
Sure. So we utilize several methods of engaging. A lot of those are partnerships. We have with different hospitals or different agencies around here that provide different services, especially for the elderly or individuals who have disability. We have people who we've made contact with at those, and then we can use things like information and referral. We can refer consumers to them, or we can call on those people and say, hey, do you have this resource? Or can we partner together so that we can provide something that might even be like resume building or some other resource for people who are looking for jobs. So there's a lot of ways that we can partner with area services that we have here. And we also work with community groups. So this might be civic organizations or social groups so that we can help to give them some knowledge and training on the services that we offer and how we help people live independently within the community so they can pass that on to people who are in their groups or who they connect with. And one way that we do that is we ensure that if we do host a meeting that it's accessible for individuals who have a disability, and then we maintain a very active presence on social media just like we're doing here today. So.
Right. And one of the things I know that it seems to be a large connection that is kind of a trifold with us here is we have our equipment lending program. And so a lot of times the hospital or therapists around will refer individuals to us for the durable medical equipment that we provide here, and the hospital does as well. And then if we don't have it, a lot of times we'll refer out someone to call elder care.
Right.
And if neither we nor elder care has it, then we'll try to help them find a resource somewhere else that they can get that medical equipment.
Right. So it helps. People are reaching out to us, and we also have partnerships with others so that they know that they can call on us anytime that they need it. So that builds those strong community connections in that aspect.
So one of the things we do is education.
Yes.
Can you share some examples of our community initiative?
Okay, so I think one of the big things that we do is that we offer disability etiquette training. One of us could do it. Generally, it's our executive director, Carl, who goes out and does some of these trainings. And what he does there is you have an organization together. We've done this for Civitans and for the Chamber and the Kiwanis and Phillips 66 and several places around town. But he'll give a kind of a mini seminar on here's the inclusive language that you use. Here are things, different aspects about etiquette and contacting and talking with someone who has a disability so that you're not using terms that might be offensive or outdated terms, things like that. And it helps to kind of break down that barrier of fear. And I think a lot of times individuals will say, well, if somebody has a disability, then they really don't know how to address that because they're not educated on that. And part of that etiquette class is to provide that education. It's also what we hope that we're doing here as well on these Facebook Lives is to provide that education to break down some of those communication barriers and make sure that everybody feels included.
Right.
So we have those types of programs, like the etiquette program. We have these Facebook Lives that we do, and that engages the community kind of as a whole and engages social groups that we have. But Alisa, can you talk a little bit about what we do with kids? Because I know that you've worked with the school system some.
Right. So I've always had a heart for children, anyways, and then of course my heart for disabled. It kind of ties in together. So within the last year and a half, 2 years, I was finally able to make a connection with Nadia Jackson, who is over the Special Olympics. Mm-hmm. She's the coach. And then also she put me in connection with a teacher at Central Middle School, Leanne Pressler. And last year, Ms. Pressler started a group called Bruins Unite, mm-hmm. and we partnered with Leanne and in doing the group. The group is called Bruins Unite, and it is a group of kids that are of diverse abilities, mm-hmm. and every week, once a week it's about 20 or 30 minutes in the mornings, they meet together and they'll either play games or have discussions or I don't know, we played floor hockey one day. Last year we had a dance party. We did various things, but during last year's school year we were able to have a puppeteering program, mm-hmm. and there was a group of kids, and then we met an additional 2 or 3 days a week, and the kids learned how to use our Kids on the Block puppets, which are a group of puppets that are developed that teach about inclusion and diversity, and they have different abilities themselves. We have a puppet that has one with spina bifida, we have another one who's blind, another one has cerebral palsy. There's a multitude. And then once we learned skits, the kids actually did 3 or 4 performances for their peers
at the school.
Mm-hmm. And so this year we are unable to get the puppet program into the school this year at the moment, but Ms. Pressler is still doing the Bruins Unite, mm-hmm. group, and they are still meeting once a week. And this group of kids is awesome because we have kids that have disabilities, mm-hmm. and then the kids that maybe don't have disabilities, whether they're physical or intellectual, they kind of help each other out. They learn teamwork. Mm-hmm. They learn how to include someone. Mm-hmm. They build up each other's self-esteem, because sometimes we have ones that kind of are like, no, they don't want to participate because they feel like they can't, or they're shy or whatever, and they encourage each other to come out and participate. And so this has led to last year to Central Middle School getting the unified, mm-hmm. status that they gained, and which was an awesome thing for the school. They have a great big banner up now that says that they're unified. So I'm looking forward to working more with them, and in doing this, it helps kids to have more of an awareness of one another's differences, or not so much their differences as in finding out what they have in common with one another. Mm-hmm. Maybe they make a connection that they wouldn't think they'd be able to make on an initial meeting. Mm-hmm. So, most of us have a tendency to make a judgment about somebody, whether they're going to be your friend or somebody that you'd hang out with or whatever, based on a first impression. Right. But with this, is teaching the kids to look past that first physical appearance or that first initial meeting and get to know someone, find out about them. If you don't already know them, ask their name, ask, whatever about them, engage learn about them. Mm-hmm. And so it's been a really awesome program, and I look forward for us to continue to do that. And then, of course, the other thing gearing towards kids is I'm fixing to have the first meeting on October 4th of the adult puppeteering group, mm-hmm. where I'm hoping to have a group of adults to learn how to work with the Kids on the Block puppets and learn the skits and stuff, and for us to be able to perform them at different community events or for individual organizations and stuff going forward.
Excellent. You talked a little bit about kind of that getting kids to connect just past the initial meeting, type thing. And you said sometimes it helps bring people out of their shell, so to speak. Do you find that's happening both with children who have a disability and children who don't have a disability? Do you find that them working together and learning together about inclusion brings people kind of out of their shell, whether or not they have a disability?
Absolutely, yeah, because which is again with the community awareness, that's something that we want to teach people, is that just because somebody has, say they're in a wheelchair or they're using a walker or they have a speech impediment or something like that, doesn't mean that they cannot do something that maybe it's bowling, maybe it's playing basketball. Just because they have X disability doesn't mean they cannot participate in Y program or events. So it does teach them that, and I find that the kids on both ends, they become aware that they can ask somebody without feeling awkward.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I was in school, I probably would have hesitated to ask somebody to go and join the cheerleading squad if they were in a wheelchair, because I would have thought they couldn't.
Right.
But
that was like,
of course, that was when I was, in my teens.
Sure.
And I didn't have a lot of exposure
Mm-hmm.
to individuals with disabilities at all in the 80s. So now, knowing what I know now, I wouldn't hesitate, because of course you can be a cheerleader. You may not be able to do every single thing as far as the gymnastics, like the flips and stuff like that, maybe in a wheelchair or with a different physical disability. But that doesn't mean you couldn't be a cheerleader,
right?
Because cheer being the action word in that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just an example. And I think that when people learn that about someone that is differently able than themselves, when they learn that everybody can do anything that they put their mind to, they just may have to be a little bit, go about it, learning about it differently. It might take them a little longer to learn it. They may need to do it in a different way, but they can still do it. So learning that is, becoming aware of that is a very important thing.
Excellent. Okay.
So can you tell me a way that Dynamic Independence uses or utilizes social media for our outreach?
Sure. So if anybody has tuned into this for any length of time, you'll know that we talk about a lot of different things, and most of it is very much about inclusion. It is about different services that are offered out there and different answers to questions that individuals might have, and they may not either know who to ask, or they may be afraid to ask, or they may not even know that such a thing exists. That we start talking about independent living services and providing independent living plans. A lot of people they don't know what that kind of thing is. So whenever we start promoting this information out, we have broke it down into kind of these bite-sized blocks of time in these Facebook videos like we're doing right now, so that we can cover individual subjects and hopefully convey enough information that people are more educated through that and become more aware of the things that we have, or that even other people offer around here. As in last Friday, we had Primal People here, and we did the Facebook Live where they talked about service dogs and answered a lot of common questions about service dogs, everything from how long it takes to train to do they have to have a certification, those types of things. And I think having those types of connections within the community, being able to bring individuals in from outside, it's not just Alesa and Jimmie, or Alesa, Jimmie, and Carl sitting here saying this is this and this. We try to engage with other folks to also bring them in when we're able to,
right,
to let them share about their experiences, and share their expertise on knowledge, because while we do this every week, we're not a subject matter expert on everything, but we have connections to these community partnerships that to people who are subject matter experts in something. So if we don't know, we can reach out to.
That ties back to our information and referral services, and that's how we're able to provide that. And
Yes.
it's an awesome thing. And I have to say, since you brought that up, I want to thank Jessica Yeager and Renee Michaels, because they have continued to answer questions even now, a week later, from that live, that people have commented, and they've been really quick to answer. So I haven't even had to reach out to them and find out and then go back. So they've not had us as a third person. They've already been able to answer those. And of course, if anybody has any questions for any of our lives, I always want you to know that you can always reach out to us by commenting on any of our previous live videos, or you can call us here at the office at 918-335-1314. So, Jimmie, the community commitment is clear, but what is Dynamic Independence's ultimate goal through all of the outreach efforts?
So, yeah, our ultimate goal is to bridge the gap between individuals with disabilities and the resources available to support them, to help them in their independence through things like education and advocacy, outreach, and creating inclusive environments. Our goal is to empower individuals to build a more equitable society where everyone can obtain and maintain their independent living. So anytime that we come on here and we talk, our goal is to provide information that will help people to continue on their journey to be independent.
Awesome. Well, that concludes our live for today. Jimmie and I want to hope all of you have a wonderful week ahead. For our viewers that are out of state in Tennessee, Florida, Georgia, we hope that you all stay safe. Hopefully, if you have to evacuate, you have a safe place to go, and we'll see you next week.
All right, everybody have a good week and be safe. Bye.
Mom commented.